Hello, brothers and sisters. I want to take a moment and thank you all so much for coming out for me today. So I've got a lot of questions really if I'm nervous about going to Africa or not. And right now, Africa doesn't seem that scary when I'm just up here talking about it. When I first got my call, I was completely shocked. It was like Africa was the last piece of my mind. I didn't know anything about Ghana. Like I've heard of it, like I know the country, but I don't know anything about it. All I know is, yay, I get to go where all the animals are. Since I received my call, I've had several people tell me about the wonderful people of Ghana. I haven't heard one bad thing about them. I've heard that they're nice people, they're so generous, they're funny, they're just the most giving and kind-hearted people that you'll ever meet. I'm really excited to see what it's like to live there and to say I went and served my mission in Africa, in Ghana. I really don't believe that there was any coincidence that I got called to serve there. I've had a love and culture, as I said, I have a love for the culture of Africa, and I have a special love for the animals of Africa my entire life. For those of you who don't know, my favorite animal from the time I was tiny has been the elephant. And in doing research in Ghana, I found that they have one of the largest elephant reserves in the world there, and I hope I get to visit. I was asked to center my remarks today on the attributes of Christ that will help me in my mission, and as well as what it means to be an apostle of Christ. It is my plan while I serve to truly study the Savior and to get to know Him, and on a much more intimate level. This is the great opportunity that I have in my life to get to know my older brother and prove to him and Heavenly Father that I want to teach the gospel to the world and I want to build up His kingdom. And as I was searching for ways I could show him examples of this talk, I remembered a talk by Elder Boyd K. Packer that hit me so close to home that I just had to have in my talk. This talk is called Spiritual Crocodiles, and I was going to give you the brief summary. From the time President Boyd K. Packer was a boy, he had a fascination and love for all animals. From the time he learned how to read, he was reading everything about animals. He was able to tell the difference between a wildebeest and a kudu and a gemsbok and a springbok. And he waited a long time, but he finally got his chance to go to Africa to see these amazing animals. And while there, it was in the middle of the dry season. There wasn't any rain. All there were little mud holes. And this guide took him to an old watering hole, and he observed that the antelope were very, very nervous while coming towards the shallow pools. And he asked this guide, "Why are they so nervous? What's going on down there?" And his guide said one word: crocodiles. He didn't believe it at first because there was no way that there's enough water to support something that big. He just said again, crocodiles. You could tell that he didn't believe him, so they brought him to another pool. And on further inspection, looking closely, he saw two little beady eyes in the snout of a gigantic reptile. He then told him a story. This guy told him a story of how a man from Britain wanted to go to see the wildlife there a couple years ago, and they set up a big fence around the camp. This was to keep out the lions and hyenas and stuff that were common in that area. But the man's curiosity to go outside the barrier was too great, and he decided to leap over the fence. And as he was walking a little ways from the camp, he stepped in a little mud puddle, and an explosion. There was a crocodile took him right there. This talk hit me so hard, so close to home, because I too have a love for animals, as you all know. And the fact that
We have so many temptations in our life today by Satan and his father and his angels that we need to watch out for everything that we do, and we need to live in the world, not of the world. I want to liken this story really quick to the tree of life, holding on to the iron rock. You have to hold it on, you have to hold it all the way to the end, all the way to the end. Even if a little bit, you let go a little bit, that's when temptation sees you, that's when Satan gets a hold of you. You can't, it's really hard to get away from it. Christ has shown us how to avoid temptation by keeping our eyes single to the glory of God and not wavering. How not to risk what we want for what we love the most for what we want at the moment. I'm moving on to the second attribute of Christ that's going to help me in Africa. Crazy as it may seem, another attribute of Christ that's going to help me in Ghana, I remember watching from the movie Pollyanna. Pollyanna. If you've seen it, you'll recall that she wears a necklace with a saying that she shares with the often angry pastor of the church, always yelling people that they're no good and that they're not good enough, they're not going to make it. This quote, which originally came from Abraham Lincoln, states, "When you look for the bad in mankind, expecting to find it, you surely will." When you look at the bad in mankind, expecting, this can be applied to any situation, like the differences in the country of Ghana, the people of Ghana. A couple weeks after my call, I had a bit of a panic attack because, like, you hear all these these stories about how poor Africa is and the poor living conditions and all the disease and stuff. I was freaking out, like, how am I going to live here for 2 years and be okay? But my mom told me this story, and she helped me, and she said, I believe the reverse of that statement is just as true. If you look for the good in mankind or anything, expecting to find it, you'll find it in abundance. And in doing so, I have found out what amazing people there are there, how beautiful the country is, and how peaceful it is there, and how great the elders there and the mission president. I believe this is one of the most wonderful attributes of Christ. He was always looking for the good and teaching others to do the same. In any situation we find ourselves in throughout our lives, we can apply this idea and be amazed at what we find. It does not mean that things will be perfect, for we know that the only perfect being that ever lived on this earth was our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We make it a point to concern ourselves with the bright and good parts of any situation, or the person we come in contact with, instead of looking for faults. I believe that we will not only be happy ourselves, but we will help others find joy in the journeys. I just want to say what it means to be a true apostle of Christ. This is kind of I've always kind of known what it means to be an apostle of Christ, but my mom helped me, my mom and family helped me put it in perspective. A true apostle of Christ strives to know and emulate him. I am so grateful that I had the opportunity for 2 years to do nothing but get to know my Lord and Savior and spend time being in his hands and serving others. I just want to close with my testimony of this gospel. I love this church so much. I love this Lord. It's been my Lord ever since I was a little kid. I love all you people. I love everyone that came out here today just to see me off. And I know that this church is true, and I know that it really is true call from Christ. I know that I'm leaving for 2 years. I'm leaving a boy. I will come back a man, and I testify to all the members of all the youth and all the young women. If you have go serve a mission, we need all the help we can get out of the world to help make it a better place.
That's what I've said. I love my family.